Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. We're going to do a little preview of Supremacy, the upcoming raid that starts tomorrow. We got plenty of new prizes, and we got some new targets, both in the raid. And it appears that for anybody that didn't like the 117 or 112, those are going away in August. So if you didn't like them, well, it may be a good day for you, but who knows? Straighty. There was a couple of recent posts, and one of them dealt with that there's going to be some changes to the FM. I don't have slides for it, but we'll go through it in a general manner, probably towards the end of the show. And I'm joined by Grimace.
What's up, everybody?
And we'll see who else joins in. We'll see if Father George and Padre join in. I'm not certain. George may be afraid he's overly salty at this point, but we will see. Do you have anything you want to start with, Grimace, or should we just start going with the slides?
Let's just go into the slides, man.
Alrighty. I will put you on present, and we can go from there. And let's get to our bug fixes. Yeah, I mean, again, the bug fixes, everybody could read them, but do you understand them?
Are you gonna? Am I on share right now?
Yes. Yeah, we're showing the slides that you're providing.
Right,
yeah, ship stats are now scrollable on the ship construction complete menu. I don't know if that's one of our issues, but monolith should path correctly in upper tier FM targets. I haven't used monoliths in a long time, so I'm not certain what that means. I'm assuming there was some issue with the 111. Weapon range, reload, and HP have been added to drone status, UI, hover menu. Okay, I sort of understand what that would mean, and I'm assuming that's related to the Haymaker drone.
Yeah.
And the one they didn't announce is there's been an update for the BP HQ app for your phone. And the one I've highlighted, there's several listed as updates. I couldn't find if they'd actually made the changes on some of them that they listed out, especially the VXP. It would show you, not VXP, it would show you the health of your target that you're about to hit. And I didn't see that anywhere. All I saw was the coordinates. But the cool thing that I think will be useful for this raid is that you can take ships out of a fleet now using the BPHQ.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so if you are one of those people that likes to instant repair and jockey through everything, in that middle picture or the middle of the screen, you'll see these X's. So you can drop those mana cores out and then try and get that, take advantage of your 5-minute speed up using the app and not having to go to the game. This was not part of it before, and you could add different ships and you can do things of that nature, assuming that, the targets are autoable,
Well, I know people that do like some of the lower level, like they'll be at work and they'll do the lower level targets like that on auto. So this is going to make it so much easier for them. Not that I'm saying you should be playing a game when you're at work.
Well, it really depends what kind of work you do.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of, we won't get into that anyway. But like this makes it a lot easier because you could take the ships out, repair them, put them back in. Or if you have a couple of extra mana cores, you can, swap them in and out, which you couldn't do before. And, you had to get in the game to do all of that kind of stuff. So this is going to make it a lot better for those people.
Yeah, no, it's a definite improvement. There were some things that are listed in the update, like I said, that were not. I couldn't tell that they were implemented, and the one that I talked about with the hit points of your target, Grimace. Were you able to find that either?
No, it just said the coordinates.
Yeah, yeah.
It didn't say
So,
anything about the HP. But
mhm.
it made me wonder if what if the target was partially damaged because all the targets obviously were full health.
Yeah.
And so I was like, maybe I'm misreading what they're saying there. Maybe they're saying like it'll tell you if if the target's already like partially damaged or something. I don't know. It wasn't working the way I thought it should work.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe it'll show 50% damage or something of that nature. Because I thought it was really fascinating if it actually told you the total hit points of a target, and that would be interesting to know. And that's not something that we get through the normal interface of playing through your computer. And I thought that was. I was quite excited when I read that, and then I couldn't find it in the app. So
The
maybe it
one,
is
the,
just like.
sorry,
Sorry.
go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going.
No, no, no. Go ahead. I was just thinking. I was going to be excited to see like, okay, there's a total hit points associated with a target, and you could reverse engineer some things to just start to understand your target
Which is
if you
kind of
knew it.
why I was wondering if that's what they're actually intending, or if they're just going to show you like percentage wise if it's already been damaged or whatever. But the other thing I was thinking of that they really kind of need to put in is sometimes you accidentally hit like the wrong target, or say you just whatever for whatever reason you hit the wrong one. Once it
Mhm.
engages, you can't retreat out of that target. So if you go into the wrong thing, your ship or your fleet dies, most likely. So
Yeah.
they need to implement that, where you can back out of there within a certain amount of time, maybe the countdown or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah. In chat, they told us that there was new coin offers, and then I look at the top of the screen and it says new Battle Pirates HQ update. So I guess they've announced that since we've in the last 10 or 15 minutes, because that's the last time I looked at the forums was a few minutes ago, and I'm just going to take a quick gander as far as what the new coin offers were. Because the last time we saw coin offers, they were great coin offers if you were willing to spend $200 on coins. Not so good if you were willing to spend $5 or $10. Or I don't think you could spend $5. I think the minimum was 10, but the bonuses were negligible at that point.
Yeah.
So I was going to take a quick peek and see what these are, but I guess we can move on because it's YouTube and everything else running. It might load a little slow, and we can get back to that.
So it says it's a BPHQ only gold sale, so you have to do it through the app. They're
Okay,
trying to get people to download the app is what they're doing.
okay, I can look on the app, but yeah, let's move on, and we'll get to that, and we'll get to that in a minute. Supremacy. It's the next to last of the Manicore Assault Cycle raid. Um, do we know is that like Greta and her new thing? I don't follow the storylines too
I
much.
don't know, like the is it just me or are the graphics very cartoonish? Like in a well, they're not. They've always been cartoonish, but they're different for some reason. Like they have a different look to them. Do they not?
Yeah, I
More
don't
more
I wouldn't say that.
sci-fi, more sci-fi
Yeah,
than pirated.
more sci. Yeah, more sci. Well, these pirates are supposed to exist in the future, 20 whatever.
Right.
So I consider these pirates to be like the advancement of the pirates that you would see in like the original Star Wars, where the bar that Han Solo would hang out. That kind of pirate is what I always sort of envisioned with this game.
It seems like the technology in the artwork is advancing exponentially, whereas the technology in the game not so much.
Yeah, well,
and they've got guns now. They're actually carrying guns.
Yeah, which is I'm assuming that's not going to enter into gameplay, because if we had, unless this is part of our new thing for our road crews that we've been asking for, that that's a teaser for that we are going to have new road crews and the actual people on the ship make a difference. I don't know, but let's see. Oh, I got 11 offers now. Before I had, I guess they started these at 7. More mana cores. More mana cores. Let's see what we got. Scorpion, more mana core build tokens, VXP tokens. Yeah, I'm not seeing gold offers in the game.
No, it says it's BPHQ Apple.
Well, I'm saying I was reading what people were telling me in
chat.
In chat, yeah, that there was offers in both places.
Yeah, but it says the coin offers. If you look at the top of the screen, it says the coin offers are in BPHQ only.
Yeah, and they're not wonderful. $6 value for $4.99, $65 offer for $49.99, and $150 value for $9.99 or $99.99. So yeah, the coin offers aren't wonderful.
Yeah, they're just trying to get people to download the app. That's what the goal of that is.
Yeah. All right, let's move on and see what we have next. Tier 8 targets. We have 2 new targets, the 106 and the 104. There was a little teaser associated with this in the Kixeye YouTube page. The 104 looks like something we've seen before. The 106 looks like just a ton of ships packed in tight. The 106 provides the Missile Defense System 3, which we'll get to a little bit later. It's an improvement on the Phalanx 4, both in performance and weight. And the 104 is going to drop the Hyper 30, which we'll get into a little bit, which is very, as you might guess, a scale up of the Hyper 10 or the Hyper 20. This is giving you a completion bonus of 5 million. So you double your points. However, the sad part of this story is the 100 and 102, which last raid had a completion bonus of, it was 5 million last time too, right? Yeah, because it was 10 million per set. Yeah, so they essentially split in half the value of the 100 and 102 targets that we saw previously. So what if they'd given us in the meantime? I'm assuming that there's going to be an escalation associated with the 104 and the 106. But what if they'd given us in the meantime that warrants an escalation? All we got was the cheater scattergun and what was it, the predator missile? I forget what.
Yeah, I think that's the missile. That was something like that.
Yeah, it's I'm not sure that we're equipped that much better than we were previously.
Yeah, unless they've done some major tweaking and actually brought the damage down. And the 100 and the 102 brought the damage down in those, and then brought the 106 and the 104 in kind of at the same level as the 100 and 102. It's going to be probably pretty difficult because we don't have anything that's really boosted up our ships.
Yeah, my only fear is that was hard to tell with the little quick views of what was going on in that video because we only got about 3 seconds on each one. Is that they somehow made the 104 and the 106 more efficient to be used, killed by the missile version as opposed to the scattergun version, which I would not be happy with because they have not been communicating anything like that. And I really hope that's not what they're doing. But because I didn't really see a reason for escalation because the 100 and 102, they put out a good amount of damage.
Yeah.
It wasn't like people were sailing through these with no problems.
I almost feel like we're going to get one of those posts on the forums, like right after raid starts, that says, hey, do whatever, as many 106s as you can, get the missile defense system refitted onto your ships, and get the Hyper 30 refitted onto your ships so that you can do these targets more efficiently. You know what I'm saying? Like we did last time where they were like, hey, hurry up and get the Darkwing so that you can do these, actually do the targets.
Yeah. It's, yeah. I mean, because we don't know a lot, and what they've done is very drastic by basically splitting the points. And we'll get into more because the Greta's Inferno Dragon, they've doubled the point. It's $40,000 just for the haul to unlock the lock store. So they've split the points and then they've doubled some of them. So it's 4 times the effort on some of this, which not making me happy. So yeah, let's go on to tier 7 unless you got more in tier 8. Okay, tier 7, they dropped the 81, added the 87. So what is it? It's 3.3 million once you complete a whole set. We haven't looked at the 87 yet, so we don't know what the damage is going to be, but there's a potential for a lot of people. Again, we haven't looked at all these targets, but I would test out which is more efficient for you, hitting tier 7s or hitting tier 8s, the lower tier 8s, the 100 and the 102, because the tier 7 is worth more than hitting one of those targets, significantly more. It's 3.3 versus 3.3 versus 2.5. So this might be a better solution for people, but we haven't seen the 87 and we haven't seen the 2 new as targets.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought too. The only issue with hitting tier 7 sometimes is the amount of time it takes. Because some raids, they go pretty quick, and some raids, and again, because we haven't seen the 87, we don't know how involved it is. But sometimes doing the tier 7s, it just takes so much longer to do. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to just sit and grind for so much longer. Whereas with the tier 8s, you could hit them. You might take a little bit more damage, but you're making more points, so you put them on slow repair, walk away from the game for a little while, go do something else, come back, and go at it again for a while,
Yeah, and this is actually a bonus, I think, for the Katie's owners because they're putting out more points than they did previously.
Yeah, like they needed a bonus.
Well, unless the 87 is a Katie's killer. We don't know. We haven't seen
I doubt that. I don't think they would do that because people would be really pissed, and a lot of their highest coiners would be upset. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't make sense from a business standpoint, I don't think.
Yeah, but they don't seem to mind pissing people off, but,
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah. As far as I know, tier 6 is the same. And I'm not even sure if I listed the rest of them because I think most people that watch this show are, hitting at least tier 6 or higher. I don't think they made any changes in tier 5. They didn't make. I don't think they made any changes to the blitz targets. So I guess we can move on. Yeah, this is something. Like I mentioned, the Greta's Inferno Dragon is in the main prize tree to unlock things, and it's $40 million. And the Makara's Mana Core is not $40 million, but 40 million points. And it's actually cheaper to get the dragon all the way up. But a lot of people probably have all this stuff that are going for this. Probably, maybe some people maybe didn't get the mana core, and those people are probably pretty upset because now they can't get both because the way it's been. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say it just makes no sense because I'm one of the people. I only got one of the Macaras because I originally wasn't going to build 2 fleets. So this raid, I was planning on getting it so that I could build it and have it ready for the last raid of the series. And now I can't.
Yeah, it's forcing you to make a decision.
The Macara should. I mean, I guess a lot of people were complaining last time that I think it was in the lock store, right? Was it in the lock store last time?
Yeah, it was in the lock store, and that doesn't solve it by putting it here. You can put it in the unlocked store, leave the mana core there, but because they've split the cost of the regular base mana core, they divided that in 2. It's half price. But the people that would be potentially unlocking the store probably already own the base mana core, so there wouldn't be anything for them to unlock. So putting such a high points value associated with the main prize tree, yeah, it seems a little aggressive on their side.
Yeah, I don't. For me, it sucks because that ruins kind of my plan of having 2 full fleets for the last raid. Unless I forego the Inferno or the Greta's Inferno Dragon this time and wait till next time to get it. But that's a possible scenario for me because my current setup does pretty well in the FM.
Okay. Yeah. We'll get more into. I think in just a couple of slides, we'll get more into Greta's Inferno Dragon and why you may want it or why you may not. So, hello, Father George.
I'm awake.
Okay.
What's up, George?
Making sure. Because last time when it was just me and Grimace, we had it end right on the hour because we both needed to go to the bathroom. It was like just 2 of us on the show. I'm like, oh my goodness, because it'd be cruel for one or the other to leave and just leave the one person on the show for a couple of minutes. But now that we got you here, we can leave George on for half an hour. And then
I'll just close the show. I don't give a crap.
So, I'm not sure if you caught what we've covered. We've basically been covering what we thought about the introduction of new targets, the S targets, and basically splitting the value of the 100 and the 102, the previous ones, by dropping the completion bonus. And then at the same time, doubling for some players, not a lot of players, basically doubling the cost to unlock the store. But I do understand that people that are wanting to claim the Greta's Inferno Dragon or wanting to claim the Macarius Mana Core probably have a full fleet of Mana Cores, probably have the weapon and the special. And so it's not really doubling it, but it feels rude, doesn't it?
I was hoping that the lock store was going to get much smaller and more stuff go into the regular store. I mean, the last couple of raids, people have made it very clear on the forums what they were like kind of looking for, and there's a lot of players that are like, why do I have to go through all this stuff to get like things that I need, and I don't know. There are things, there are things that I'm not that thrilled of. Now, on both sides, if I remember the tree correctly, the only thing that is really new in the tree is the Greta, correct?
Yeah, Greta's the only thing that's new.
So, yeah, I don't know.
But we have to think across. I mean, the other issue that we brought up with the Macarius Mana Core is a lot of people haven't claimed them yet. Even though it's not new, because it was expensive, or they were just working on their mana cores, or maybe they want a second mana core or Makara's mana core. And now you're forced to a decision point at that point. At the way they've structured it currently, it might be cool if they also had one in the lock store in addition to having it here. A second way to
I didn't even think of that.
One.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Because we do have the Hull store raid next month, and now we're in. Yeah, I don't know. That's actually not a bad idea. I mean, I'll be honest. I didn't even really it didn't dawn on me because I got them the first month. So
yeah, Grimace didn't.
No, I didn't, and that's what I said before. I was planning on getting it this raid to build it because I've got everything else pretty much ready to go for the last raid. So I was going to build it for the last raid, and now I got to choose.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
he has a Savage Kodiak. He has a Savage Kodiak, so we can talk more about his decision once we get into the blueprint for the Gretas. And why don't we wait for that decision? And let's move on, and we'll talk about what Grimace should do later. Black Store. I have put the new stuff in orange. And we're just at this point we're just talking about the prices. The new D6 CO and M, 4 million each. Shielded circuitry, which is sort of a catch-all as far as slowdowns, fields, whatnot. Something we haven't really seen before, but. And then we have the Flagship Launcher 2, which we'll talk about later, at 15 million each. With
that's gonna be interesting, right there.
Yeah. I sort of think with the Flagship Launcher 2, they were sort of listening to some of the things I've been talking about, but I'm not certain because but I think they've been listening a little bit on that one. Zen 3 Reinforcements D5R, which is for your turrets or it's for your base. And it's we'll get into that. Radioactive isotopes is a special that goes with the Flagship Launcher. The thing that's missing here, there is no like vultures or executioner 2s, anything that allows players to catch up associated with the tier 7 missiles.
Right.
This is a way to extend the life, I assume, of the impacted cruiser. Because if you don't have all of them, they can pretty much, at least as far as your turrets go, walk in unless you have a full complement of tier 7 penetrative stuff. And I'm not happy about that because I'm somebody that's missing. I'm missing one vulture.
Well, with the way that the numbers are now, I mean, I don't know that it really matters how many you got anymore because it's back to death by 1,000 cuts. I mean,
yeah, but you can still pass. There's still some pass through associated with if you have all 8 and you choose the faction, or not pass through, but they're still up and above deflection. It's not. At least I don't know. I don't have any big, but because it's like. The Missile Storm Cruiser, if you have all the Howie stuff, which is available to this store or the other store, I think it's available. I think there it is. Yeah, it's this one at 15 million each with a redeem of 4. If you have all the ballistics, it'll tear up the Missile Storm Cruisers. Are you saying that if you have a full complement, properly placed and equipped, that if you have all tier, 8 of tier 8, you don't on the penetrative stuff, you don't get through to the Missile Storm Cruiser. I'm sorry, the impacted cruiser.
I didn't quite follow that one. It depends on the build, dude. They're like, I don't know anyone that's actually relying on one specific hull. There's a couple of options that you can rely on for a tank. And kind of go from there. And it gets really interesting because a lot of people are now starting to use the mortar prep fleets that have that the SDS 7's been using. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. All right. Anything that we haven't mentioned? The ballistic calibrator came out recently. There's, for a fairly decent price, you get the impact cruiser, not at a bad price relative to the bounty. It's been released, $7 million for the cruiser itself, and that's limited. But the new siege cannon and the ballistic calibrator are $5 million each, so not a bad price point. So,
I like that they have those Macaris Manicore build tokens in there. Those are really nice.
yeah, $4 million each. We're gonna have to see what the targets look like. So
yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to afford them, but it'd be nice if I end up going that direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the Manicore stuff. So you can get 10. It's odd. Of the flagship, you can get 10, which you can only, probably, build 2 of, as opposed to the unlimited Manicore, you're limited to 8. So I'm not sure what the logic was behind that, but in the Inferno Dragon build tokens, you're limited to 5. I don't know. We can nitpick this to death, but yeah, I just don't. Some of these limits I don't quite understand. But should we go on to the unlock store?
Sure.
Okay. Anything that lights anybody's fire? Manicore is 10 million. The Roaring Bear system and the Panthera Scattergun are still, those are the original prices, right? It's 20 million for those, and it's only 10 for the Manicore. So it seems like they kept the original pricing.
Yeah, I think you're right.
For the other.
Hey, man, that Chameleon, Com Prime, and Chameleon are in there.
Oh yeah, 20 million. I wish I could get more than one, to be honest.
I actually ended up building those because I had a bunch of tokens, and yeah, they're every bit as worthless as Spec said they were.
Yeah. But the fact that they kept it at 20 million is I guess they're keeping you from, doing bad things to yourself, as far as, like as opposed to building like the Saga's Punisher or things like that.
I'm gonna say, hold on. Now I'm gonna say this: if they put in chameleon tokens, which I really hope they start putting chameleon tokens in, because otherwise it's not worth building the damn things. But I actually use mine in the whatchamacallit doohickey thingy that no one freaking really uses. Expeditions. Yeah, thank you. And they do really well. They're still not fully built, and I'm sure I could tweak them, but I don't have any more tokens, so I'm not touching them. That's why they're not fully built. However, as a aborted idea that they kind of left hanging, I would hope that they start putting some tokens in at least in the TAM stores for the raids, because otherwise no one's going to be building those things. But they do.
Yeah, I guess I should go back. I guess I should go back and say that my fleet's not completely finished either. I think I have the flag and 3 regular ships done, and then one of them is not fully completed. And the last 2 regular ships aren't completely ranked, but they're still pretty crappy. I mean, you have to drive them. At least mine, I built mine pretty close to the way Spac built his, and you can't auto.
Yeah, and the fact that they didn't even. I mean, at 20 million, what are they thinking at 20 million? That was my main point. At 20 million, it's okay, half the price of the Manicore that's potentially useful. It's 25% more than the Inferno Dragon. I mean, it's a very expensive, limited haul.
Yeah, it's a very niche haul, because you're only going to be hitting those expeditions for the most part.
Yeah, it's.
And the only time I probably ever do that is maybe during raid if I'm short on something.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're taking up, you know, five spots in my dock, which I need those spots.
Yeah, that is the one thing with all these extra things here and there and everywhere. Geez, I am so out of room.
And maybe I spoke too soon and didn't really pay attention earlier. Well, you can get 5 more Inferno Dragon tokens here. There's still 4 million, but you can get 5 back in the. Could you go back one, Space Grimace?
Maybe.
Back to the Luck Store. And Inferno Dragons. Okay, so you can get a total of 10 at 4 million each. So I guess it's not that bad. I think they should make them cheaper, but we can go forward. I think they should have made some of them cheaper just because of the way they're forcing people to refit them all the time. That 4 million seems like a pretty high price tag.
I also love it that we can get, there's 3 different instances of base parts, titanium and uranium.
Oh, yes. You know, I'm always a big fan of that.
It's like it keeps going up. Wasn't it two instances of that before, not 3?
Yes. I mean, it's, you know, I love to buy titanium wherever I can. It's
I can't wait for
the only reason I do the raid. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I can't wait for the raid when it's all just base parts, titanium and uranium. I mean, come on.
Yeah, then you're good. All right, we can move on and start. I think we're going to start looking at some of the tech at this point. Hopefully. All right. This is the FM flag, Greta's Inferno Dragon. Rampage has told us that we are not going to see a leather skin for this one, but we were more worried about, you know, the potential of a latex skin that was going to come out, since that appears to be what Greta actually wears. I think a lot of people miss some of the bonuses associated with this haul. Everything I've put a little red box around is new or an improvement over what was in the normal Inferno Dragon. If you want to click it one more time, Grimace, we can see by how much. Okay, on the left-hand side is just your plain Jane Inferno Dragon that's been around for months and months. They've added 10% to rocket reload. All of the anti-mortar, anti-missile buffs are brand new. They weren't on the original Inferno Dragon. They did a little buffs in defense. They've added a couple of points of remote targeting evade, and they've added 10% to the explosive and penetrating defense. And then the big ticket item, that the one that everybody was expected and worried about and fretted about relative to the Savage Kodiak, is the flagship effect that it's going to have. And it appears to be a slight improvement if you equip the ship over the Savage Kodiak as far as the flagship effect it has, because as far as it impacts the FM, penetrative defense is the only thing that really is boosted, because the Inferno Dragons do not fire a penetrative weapon. So that bonus that's provided by the Savage Kodiak doesn't matter. The big difference that's on the downside is that the Savage Kodiak has a unlimited range, so anywhere on the map it would have that penetrative defense of plus 50, but this has a range of 120. But additionally, it's adding additional structure deflection and ship deflection of 300. What do we all think about this?
You know, I think it's going to be very interesting. One, with the mortar stuff, all the extra accuracy and stuff, and the ranges. You know, they're making it worth like seriously looking at it, the only thing that I'm kind of concerned about, I mean,
But you heard the 117 and the 112s are going away in August, right?
yeah, I heard that. I just
Yeah.
have a feeling that with the advent of this, we're gonna see the Savage negated somehow, and that's gonna really annoy me. Like if you don't have this, and then and you can't bring in your Savage, and the 117s are gone, I'm gonna have an issue.
Yeah, I think that's where they're headed. I think that's why they're coming out with these new targets. They're going to make it where you can't take a Savage into it, or at the least or whatever, they're going to make it where this is a necessity.
Or a bonus.
To
I mean,
run with your
because or a bonus. I mean, a tier 7 flagship haul should perform better in a target than what's the Savage Kodiak 4.5? I'm not saying it should perform
something
better.
like
It's tier 5.
And the problem in these targets a lot of times is the splash. So running another ship in there sometimes, because some people would run like 5 dragons, 5 regular dragons, and like they might be taking extra damage just because all the ships are stacked in that splash. So like that's why I think in a way the Savage Kodiak was better, because you could set it in the corner. I split my fleet 2 and 2, and they take a lot less damage doing it that way on the 117s. So it just kind of depends on how these targets are designed, I think.
Well, and also there was as part of the post by Major Rampage, they provided some suggested builds, and the suggested build was to turn the Greta's Inferno Dragon into basically an anti-ship. You take most of your antis off of your normal Inferno Dragons. So to increase the firepower associated with it, and the Greta's Inferno Dragon is going to provide more efficient use of your antis. So you don't need to use as many of them because we have these increases in accuracy and range associated with them. And which requires more refits, right? I think so.
And I think these countermeasure bonuses are great, but we still have those projectiles in there that can't be negated, and those do splash damage.
Mm-hmm.
So even though you're shooting down all the other stuff, you're still getting hit by those boogers, whatever they are.
But we don't know. But we don't know how the impact of the addition of the penetrated defense and the structure deflection keys into that. I mean, are we taking significantly less damage from the booger ones? And are we supposed to be using the new reactive plate or reactive special? What is that thing called? The one that has lower penetrated defense but higher structure deflection. The one that we won for hitting either the 100s or the 102s, because once you reach a certain level of penetrated defense, you're only making incremental steps as far as your resistances, and so your deflection is making a larger percentage. So maybe that was the logic behind it. And there's also some other things out there that, doing the math all together, I'm not certain how they're going to have an impact as far as the total repair time that we're going to have.
That's why it's just going to have to test.
Yeah.
George,
so,
I know.
I mean, I think you need to do like a video montage of all your refits.
Let me tell you,
back in the 70s, you were refitting your Inferno Dragon this way, and then the 80s, the 90s, because it seems like it's been 40 years of refits.
Yeah, this has been the most refit hull I have ever had. I mean, ever in this game, and I've done some really crazy shit. So, that I'm gonna have to refit again, and it's not even, what the hell is that armor that we had? The shit. Didn't they come
When
out
I was
with
trying to bring up the reinforced,
no, the regular
reactive.
the armor the regular armor that is like that combo. I don't know what the fuck they called it this time because I kind of half ignored it. It does both pen and explosive at 18, but it takes repair time. The fuck is it called?
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it, but
everyone's ignored it. Everyone's ignored it, and the more I think about it, and I'm like, okay, they're gonna have the Greta come in, and they're gonna do. I'm like, I really hope. I mean, I really, really hope that I don't have to refit that shit onto my hulls because.
Yeah, these new targets will probably
that's like 9 or 10.
armor.
Yeah, you figure that's like 9 or 10 days of refit on that, right? What are we gonna do? Like a ship of 5 or a fleet of 5 is 2 months of shipyard time. What the fuck?
By that time, the targets will be changing again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Well, let's hope they didn't do that, but.
One can hope, but I'm not gonna hold my breath because damn.
All right, we got anything else on this slide? Want to talk about? Dealer. Rad turret.
Oh, this is going to be interesting, isn't it? Did we lose Hefe again?
Yeah, I think he disappeared.
Seriously? On the rad turret, of all things. Anyway.
You want to take this one?
I'm actually like, I'm multitasking. I'm using 2 screens right now doing 2 different things. That's why I haven't been able to see what you guys are on stuff. Let me go back here and see if I can get this over here. So we have... Yeah, now this is going to be interesting because, we've always presumed that the shockwave damage was a secondary damage. It wasn't buffed by anything. We don't know if it's actually going to be halved by turret defense.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is... Oops, hold on a second. I just messed something up. Sorry. So the question is, of course, does it or doesn't it? Because that's going to make a massive difference in terms of whether that 900,000 is going to just kill PvP.
Well, and I haven't looked at the numbers, but even on anything other than the Ifrit,
it's an Ifrit.
What is it?
Ifrit.
Okay,
yeah,
the Ifrit.
Ifrit.
Whatever that freaking ship.
That damn ship.
You can't even get using armors. You can't even get that much deflection.
Even with shockwave plate? See, I'm not even sure. Like I haven't played with it at all.
I don't think shockwave plates, they weren't even around when we were dealing with the types of deflection numbers that we're dealing with now.
Nope, they didn't.
But whatever D6U or whatever doesn't have that much. So
now the other question is though, are we getting an armor after the raid too? I mean, isn't that when we've traditionally been getting armor, or is that?
I have no idea, but I mean, this seems like it would just nullify all holes except for the Ifrit. With that amount of shockwave damage, even if the 50% turret defense cut it down. And again, I haven't run the numbers. Maybe somebody else in chat or something has, but I think just looking at it, I think that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Or I guess not a problem if you have it, but
I just think it's it's good because we don't have a clear answer yet as to whether or not, because if turret defense does apply, then that's one thing, but where it's a secondary damage, we don't even know if the damn thing's going to work, first off, and two, how it's intended to work, because no one's ever answered the question yet. So,
which question? I went for a beer and then I lost internet for a little while and then it came back up. What's the question as far as the shockwave damage?
yeah, whether or not turret defense applies.
Yeah, the other question I had, which I didn't get an answer to, is does a damage debuff impact the shockwave damage?
What do you mean?
Like if you wanted to put like a DTR,
what's the DTR?
I think it's DTR, where you add 10% 10 range.
Transformer.
Oh
yeah,
no, because it's a secondary damage. It's not gonna apply that, but you're also not gonna get a buff either from like the specials. You know what I mean?
So I think it's the DTR is the new one, and you get plus 10 range, so you're out to 115.
Mm-hmm. And
so now you can't be sniped, and it's 15 stacks for a shockwave, according to my sources. And so it's firing 8 at a time. Or 8 in a salvo, 8 in 1.6 seconds. You got 2 of them. You can fit the new special that we haven't seen yet. That gives ×3. So you could shockwave them several times, and even if it's split in half, if it's 450, it seems like it's going to be an effective weapon. It seems to harken back to a little bit about, I think some of these turrets need to be standalone by themselves, right? And so do we know if this radioactive damage on the right-hand side associated with the tier impacts the shockwave?
Well,
because it's the secondary damage side?
Don't forget the range is only 105, and even with the plus 10, it's 115. You can still get to it.
Well, I mean, a lot of things have a range of 110 as far as conquerors. I mean, I guess there's certain angles you can go to. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, if you place it properly, you could still get some shots off. And that special increases your defenses and your range while you sacrifice damage. So it seems like the good way to go, right?
Yeah, I mean, like again, I think it's going to depend on a bunch of stuff. I don't know. I mean, I can definitely see someone putting these things just after a bubble point in their base, and what are you going to do then? I mean, I guess you could come in with an Ifrit and kind of tank this one and sneak behind it. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I can think of a couple of things, but where in the hell is the splash on that fucking shockwave? Is there no splash on the shockwave?
They don't show it. It's not part of the stats. I mean, like the stacks required, they're not shown. They're supposedly going to add them.
They usually add the splash, though. If there's no splash listed on the shockwave, I don't think there's a splash then.
No, shockwave. No, they don't. Shockwave isn't considered splash. It's its own thing, and I forget. It's like it used to be a standard number, like 30 or 60. I can't recall what it is. I mean, but if you find a splash associated with a shockwave, let me know.
I could have swore they. I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah. It's. I think it's 30 is the base. So yeah, and Cuttlefish mentioned Radium Reserves, the one I was referring to. 40% reload, ×3 supercharge, and plus 20% shockwave damage. So.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's you could put that one, and I think the special, if I put the slides in the right order, the rad turret special of radioactive isotopes, projectile speed plus 75%, accuracy plus 75, radioactive damage plus 50, which I guess we don't think applies to the shockwave in general. I compared it to atomic focus, which is a tier 5, higher accuracy but lower damage. So probably worth putting on.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah, I would think, because I still think if unless you have an Ifrit or Ifrit or whatever we're going to call it, scourge.
Ifrit. We just went through this. It's called an Ifrit.
Okay. It's like a soft, doughy pastry with, never mind.
Picture it spelled E-F-R-E-E-T. Ifrit. It's a genie.
Okay.
A fire genie, but genie. Some shit like that.
Okay. But the accuracy is helpful because it didn't have a very high accuracy. It was like a 70% accuracy, as I recall.
50.
Oh, 50. Okay, so the plus 75 still is only going to get it to, let's see, quicker with the calculator. It's 50 times 1.75. Damn it. 50 times 1.75. We are at 87.5. So yeah, there is a I mean, it's almost a trade-off, because if the radioactive damage does not impact the shockwave, you might be better off using the atomic focus if you're going for the shockwave.
Yeah,
because that's 50 times 220.
I'm kind of wondering if we're going to see the rise of the high evade.
George, check my note in chat, please.
No, that's not right.
Why?
Well, because half of 76 is half of 76, not doubling it. Are you trying? I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to do there.
That's range.
Just type it in. Just type it in. I'll figure it out for you. Sorry, guys. I am multitasking. That's
Well,
right. I'm sorry. I didn't see. I actually have two things running right now. So
no, he's right. It's just a matter of.
Is it 154? Is what he's trying to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's right.
I'm not following. Yeah, I wasn't following what he was doing there. Okay, got it.
But again, we're doing something outside of what people are able to see, so we should probably summarize this in some way.
Well, there's a way to take care of that turret, is all I'm trying to say. And right there it is.
Yeah. Okay. If you can do enough damage, but yeah, again, we're talking outside of what people can see, so let's. Yeah, it's possible that you could snipe it in a certain way, with the right combination of specials. But I'm not sure how long it would take you to kill it, because I think some of the specials that Rum is using also decrease the damage that is done. So it might be a long time to kill it. Especially because the special that was mentioned also increases the resistances of that turret. So we'll see. I mean, but yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're at a point where, and like I said, this might be, and that's what I said earlier too, and I think that's why Rum was looking at that, was because if you put this in somewhere just after your bubble pad, right? If you're set up right with that prep hull going in, you could prep this out first, and then you don't even have to worry about the bubble pad or anything. I mean, it's, again, they're going back to, I don't know, this whole year has just gone to shit in terms of balance, and I think part of the reason is because it looks like they're looking at like an end point, right? Which is great if we were at a balance point at the beginning. Like, you look at an end point and project out to there if you're in a good place. We weren't in a good place. 2017 was a complete fucking disaster. So
George, are they looking at an end point or a balance point?
Well, either one. I mean, when you're
because the end point sounds like, it sounds more ominous than. Like
okay. I'm sorry. No, I'm thinking like endpoint in terms of like, fiscal years and stuff like that. Or if you're planning a project, you have an endpoint of your project and then you start the new one. That's what I meant by endpoint. Yeah, I'm not meaning no. There's no. No. That's not what I mean. I meant it in terms.
That's why I try to call it balance.
I was doing corporate speak. I am so sorry. Yeah, a balance. So they were looking for. I mean, that's what it looks like. That's what it feels like, because we've had these crazy swings from the beginning of the year to now, and it's still kind of like. I mean, it's not as bad, but we're still like, hey, well, we messed up on this, and we have to fix this, and. I mean, that would have been all well and good, because if you were at a balance point, those swings would not have been that bad. But where we were in a shit spot to try and do this, they should have just let everything out and said, hey, here's the shit that's coming out. You guys get to pick what you want to do. Surprise, right? I mean, I don't know. I hope they're looking at this stuff and trying to get something squared away, because there's a lot of unhappy pirates right now.
Yeah. But again, I mean, there's no testing at this point, but Atomic Focus at the end of the day might be the better special, but I would still spend the points to get the radioactive isotopes, but just due to the accuracy increase and the potential that people are going to go with high evade ships to avoid the shockwave. There's some play there, is all I'm saying. There's some play there as far as how you may want to equip your turrets. And we don't know the answers yet, because we don't know how things are going to work relative to what they say in the blueprints.
So you're saying that it was a rad turret special that's now kind of dropped down to a pretty cool turret special?
Yeah, I mean, there's some of them that do pretty cool damage. And that's going to be the next damage type that we haven't seen yet. It's going to go from rad to pretty cool. So, yeah.
Sorry for those people that don't know what that is.
Yes.
I apologize.
It's okay. Missile Defense System 3. I've compared it to the Phalanx Anti-Missile 4, and it's a bonus. It's outworks it. I mean, based on the blueprints. It's limited, though, right?
Yeah. I mean,
don't we get shards for this?
George doesn't sound excited.
No, I mean, I'm fucking tired of the damn limited shit. I mean, honestly, let's just be honest. The limited is crap. It's a pain in the ass.
Well, it's not even just limited now. You have to get the shards, right? Like 5 shards.
Which is even...
Look how they've limited it. Look what target they've attached it to. Only the top players with the top fleets are going to be able to get any of these.
And there goes the big gap is going to get even bigger. And
sure,
we're talking about CMs now, which Kixeye uses these as a tuning point, right? So not only are we going to have the gap in terms of the have and have nots for equipment at all, we're also going to have abilities limited, because when you start tuning using these in mind, I mean, what are you going to do? It's got a bigger range. It's got an extra salvo, so you're going to be able to cycle better. The reload time's the same, and the weight's lower. I mean, now you're giving, you're exacerbating that gap in and of itself.
And you complained about excessive gap, thigh gap. I think last week.
I like. I'm not even going to go into this. So many jokes.
Okay.
Woo! All right.
Yes. But it also increases the accuracy a little bit, and the way it's earned. Yes, it's creating a bridge that's going to be harder to understand later, as far as like, okay, you have this and I have that, and like we talked about earlier, as far as like the tier 7 pen turrets, like if you miss one, you're screwed. I mean, they're not re-releasing this stuff,
right? Which
I find to be really frustrating.
And can I just point out, because I know a lot of people are going to be like, it's only 5 difference in accuracy. Let me just point this out. When I did the whole dual zealous crazy shit, one of the reasons why that worked so well was that additional 5% from the other zealous. The catch is, and there are some, like, I don't know if anyone remembers, like way back before I really was doing a lot of videos or anything, I would use the that kind of the old ass countermeasure special, because on one of them it gives you some extra accuracy, right? I mean, there's certain times where I will actually manipulate that extra 5 or 10% accuracy, and it makes a massive difference in the targets because they are tuned and they're a static tune, right? Unless they go in and actually physically change the tuning of the target, what you can figure out, works. So, and these are some of the ways that, we kind of manipulate targets and stuff is those little tiny numbers right there. It's only a 5% difference in accuracy, but man, it can make a massive difference.
Oh yeah. Very true. And I would recommend getting them if you can afford them. But what? Okay, I think we're limited. Well, what would be your first priority to put them on? Because we're not going to get, because they are limited.
I'm not sure. I mean, like, I'm half tempted to say I would put them on my Manticores, right? Because I'm not really that concerned about the shit in the FM right now, unless they changed, the missile stuff in the FM, and then maybe. But like even on the Manticores, I'm kind of hesitant because one, they're limited. Two, I have no idea what, and we're getting the Proto Apollo in what, like 2 months, 3 months, 3 raids from now or some shit. Because this one's going to be the FM, the next one's going to be the new whatever the hell cycle we're going to go into, and then so the next one after that's going to be that
skirmish is next.
Yeah, right? Skirmish is next. So we'll have the FM, the skirmish, and then what's next? That's going to have to be it's either going to be a flag. It's either going to be a flag or it's going to be a Proto Apollo. Now it might be the flag, in which case I would be expecting that Proto Apollo to come out probably the week after the last raid. The way things are fucking going. And the next shit that's going to come out, a week after that, like just like the Primus or Donus, whatever the fuck it was, it's going to come out with a TLC tuned to the Proto Hull, because that's fucking cool.
Sure.
Let's
talk about
your frustration is leaking overboard, man.
It's not frustration. It is a little frustration because I understand they wanted to come up with the proto stuff and they wanted to do it for the SSRBs. And awesome. If you want to do that extra stuff, it's a bonus. You invested in it. You get to take advantage of the SSRBs. Phenomenal. But to tune map targets and TLCs and shit towards that proto hull, instead of the hulls that we got in the raid that we've been told and promised are going to be the hulls for a year, is absolute fucking horseshit. Yep. And anybody that thinks otherwise is a fucking disservice to the community. It's that simple. Because we were told clearly 1 year, these are your raid fleets. You're going to invest in these things. We understand it's taken all the shipyard time. We're going to make sure they're your fleets for a year. They're not anymore. I have a problem with that. So yes, I'm frustrated with that.
Yeah. If I was a betting man, I would say those were shots fired right there.
Not at all. There are two very, there's two groups of players in the game. The ones that have the protos, and look, I have both of them built. I'm already done. I have the damn things. I can take advantage of the fucking things. But I think it's an absolute shit fuck to the players that don't have them if you're going to tune crap to that. I mean, the skirmish fleet, the skirmish raid's going to come up, right? Is that the next one? Whatever the fuck it is. The one with the prototypes, right? Those are coming up in the next raid. What are you going to do? You're going to tune the lower targets to that instead of what the rest of the players have? I mean, that's stupid.
I mean, I know I got my tinfoil hat on, but I think the new S targets are going to be tuned to these missile defense system 3s, and they're going to tell you to get them on as fast as possible.
You know what? Damn, I didn't even think of that. That could be.
Because, we've been having issues with sprints and Phalanx 4 and all that, and they're going to say, hey, these are better, put these on.
So
then your tokens, put these on.
But see, then the question becomes, if they're going to do that, right? So we're going to have to start trying to get these now. So what do you put them on? If you're an endgame player, you're going to get them, right? Do you put them on to your prototypes? Or are you going to wait until you find out what the new hull is? And then do we know if the prototypes are going to work in the S sets or not? Or are they going to be blocked out because, like, in these, only the Makaras can go, or only the Manticores can go in? I mean,
George, you already said it. We get no information on what to use them or how to use them, just to use them. So everybody puts them on, makes a mistake, they have to refit them. So you either refit with coin or refit with time.
I'm tired
What
of
is Kix
refitting.
leaning towards?
I'm so tired of refitting.
So am I. Remember when we didn't have to? We could figure it out, and it was nice to come up with a build pretty close to right the first time.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, I've made all sorts of fucking mistakes. I still make mistakes now.
But I'm talking about before you had 5 million different items to use.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, you came close each time. But I also remember the time when I, like the Typhoon raids, for example, right? Everyone was building all these crazy things. I was going in with BCs. You could do it with BCs in one of the whatchamacallits, not the Hurricanes. What was the first things that we had that had the
Arbiters?
Yeah, thank you. An Arbiter and BCs, and I was doing the whole fucking raid with those things because I came up with a cool little build.
Yep.
And I mean, you don't have like it's yeah, the sandbox has gotten much smaller, and it's a little frustrating. And then when they change the rules on top of it in the middle of it after they've promised something, I'm getting frustrated.
Well, but they've got the tight thumb down on everybody to where they control what you can put on and mitigate damage. That way we go back to guaranteed damage. This is going to work for those that have it. For those that don't, you're going to take more damage. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's mandatory damage. Yep, because they're not letting enough out so that you can mitigate the damage.
Yep.
Oh, and by the way, hi Rome, I wasn't here when you logged on, so
not a worry, but I just popped in.
He's lying. He was just fucking ignoring you.
Should we move on to the next slide?
No.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Grimace, don't listen to him.
Wait, yes!
Hell yes! All right, no.
Faster!
I like this one. That's definitely a hyper 30.
Yes. So this is also this is the 106. I think you need a hit.
Oh, I'd hit that.
And you get yeah. Oh, but you don't realize how hard it was for me to find a picture that would be suitable for the show with the number 30 on it. I spent a lot of time lingerie football leagues. They are numbered from 1 to 20.
Oh,
I mean,
George.
And then volleyball teams.
How's that get?
It's number 1 and number 2. Number 1 and number 2.
Yep.
I don't know about women's softball. There's a couple out there, but it's not the same. And I went through a ton of bikini contests where they wear the little tag on them. I could find a 32, a 29. Yeah, this was hard work.
Clearly we don't appreciate your skills in finding like hot chicks and numbers, but I appreciate this one.
You did well.
Yes, it took me a long time. I was about to give up, and then I found this one.
I'm glad you didn't.
And who was the Lucky Charm?
Yeah. I told Grimace, I'm like, I'm giving up on this, and then seconds later, I found this one, and I was like, okay, because I literally spent over an hour looking for this.
That's a hell of a job.
Yeah.
We appreciate the big bucks.
Yeah, that's why I get the big bucks. Click on the donate button below. Oh, we don't have one, but yeah. Yes, if you appreciate. But yeah, you could click the like button or the unlike button. Doesn't matter. But
well, I'm clicking the like several times.
Okay. Well, I'm not even sure what that means, but
I think that's Jergens like lotion or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're not sure what's going on there. But this is an interesting special. Okay, plus 30 projectile speed, splash damage reduction to plus 30. It might be, I'm thinking FM with that. Evade bonus.
This has got Proto Centurion written all over it because those boats take so much freaking damn splash damage from that SSRB. It's crazy.
That's why you got to go in with like a buddy and walk out with like crap damage.
What's your buddy driving? Is he going to drive a fleet of the Hydras?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they said you could do it by yourself and get double the bonus.
Well, you are getting double the bonus, but you're also getting double the
damage. They're going to get that damage in there somewhere.
Yep.
So, yeah, this is, again, it's the 104 or the 106? I forget at this point. Does anybody recall?
I don't know. I'm not even sure what we're talking about. I'm kind of distracted.
Okay.
So.
All right.
I keep waiting on the blueprint.
Damn good picture.
Is there a blueprint on this picture anywhere?
No, the reason that I even put that picture next to it is because that the briefing neglected to provide a blueprint for it. And so
nice brief.
Yes. Okay, very nice. But you see, you do not own this component. So I had to go to my shipyard in order to find the details.
I sure do wish I did own that component, but
me too.
Yes. Alrighty. Hyper 30, had a lot of either 106 or 104, and Rum thinks it needs to go on your Proto Centurion, which I have not really experimented with. It also seems like it could potentially go, if you get all 5, could go on your dragons. I'm just not sure and also has, but you need to get 5 of them, right, to have it make sense.
Yeah.
With the plus 30 bonus combat speed.
So
I'm not sure what way they added the word bonus.
Okay,
but,
so
yeah.
if these are shards, how many are we limited to? Or are we limited?
I don't think you're limited as long as you can keep on hitting those targets.
So in other words, this is not that limited of a component if you're going to be hitting the top level targets.
Yeah, so you need to hit for
Aren't they
to get enough for one fleet, you need to hit 25 of them.
Yeah.
And so you can go beyond that.
But isn't there a limit? Isn't there a limit on them?
I don't know. That's what I was asking.
I mean, I feel like I saw that.
If it's shards collected, I don't know that they'd have a limit on. I mean, you just get as many shards as you can get, and
I want to scroll back, but I don't want to scroll back. So.
No, there will be a rebellion when this picture changes. This slide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I might change outfits. Right again, with all the complaining, I had to take that picture myself. So,
Right.
Yeah. So, should we move on before Rum starts a rebellion?
No.
I was trying to look that up to see if they were limited real quick.
No, we can leave the show right here.
All right.
Yeah, and on a high note, why not?
Yeah, I'm not even sure what's next. All right. D560.
Who fucking cares?
Well, the weird part is we had the charged armors, which had no repair time. This has relative, 1 second, no repair time. I can see for this one, it's a weird one because you can, as far as repair efficiency, it's off the charts, right? So even if you don't care about, if this was unlimited, that would be crazy. This armor and the next one need to be limited. Because otherwise, you could just fill up ships with these and just change your repair efficiency incredibly.
Yeah, but your the hull class is pretty limited. Assault and Generalist, which they're going away from.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So the next thing the next one I forgot about because I thought it was going to be good on the FM, but
no.
Yeah. If it's I'm going to be wrong on the next one.
Class specific.
Yeah, it's class specific.
Go ahead, bump it on over, baby.
And even still, I'm not all that thrilled on these things.
Oh, look at that!
Assault and Garrison.
Oh, okay. So I was right. Yeah, I mean, what does everybody think about this on your Inferno Dragons?
I'm not sure that I really would think too much about this because mine lean towards. I try and lean a little bit towards an explosive bias for defense. I don't know if they're going to change that much going forward. So it's kind of and it's not that much of a bias. I think it's pretty close to 50-50 for the split. It's like maybe 60-40 or like maybe, I don't know, 53-47, something like that. So to throw it off that much, I'm not sure. The fact, I mean, the big draw to this is that repair duration. That I think is the absolute biggest draw for this armor.
That's what I'm saying. You have a repair efficiency that's off the charts. You're getting 2,500 armor for 1 second of repair. So even the penetrating defense, it sort of matters. But the big thing is that,
I mean, it can also kind of let you.
Other part.
Yeah, it can also kind of let you refit around. If you want to go like ablative, and then use this. I mean, and the other thing though, I'm thinking about it because the other thing is also we've been discussing for a while the repair coefficients essentially, right? Like how efficient they are to repair. And I think it's like this show that started discussing that through some of the stuff that came out, and I'm fairly confident it's finally percolated up. So someone at Kicks is going, hey, they got a point, right? Like some stuff's coming out that is worse, like that new combination armor, for example. So maybe someone went, hey, you know what? That's a good point. We kind of went from a 0 repaired armor to one that's like, how much time is each one of those things? Half an hour or some shit? So maybe this is supposed to help
15 or 20 minutes. 15, 20 minutes
by 5. So, I mean, this might be put in there just to kind of soften that blow a little bit in terms of when we switch, because I don't know that I'm seeing, like the people that have tested it, we're not seeing a huge difference. Some people are reporting a little bit lower repair. Some people are reporting higher repair. It's just that you have more longevity of the fleet, right? So in Kicks' eyes, I don't think they give two shits how long, I mean, how many times, like how much you can actually do. Like, yeah, go ahead, do 20 of these things, but we want that repair time because that's what they're balancing for, is my guess. So this might just kind of soften the blow a little bit for time, but you can't just go load up crazy on this unless they come up with an X one, and then that's another whole story. And then my next question would be, do they tune for that crazy ass resistance? Because now we're getting to the point where you're really doing resistances between 90 and 100. So we're just playing with 10. So tenths of a percentage now mean a lot. So why do we even bring them all the way up to 90%? Why don't we just keep them at fucking 50 and kind of have a better looking game?
Well, because at some point they screwed up the numbers. I mean, we've talked about that a zillion times. As far as, especially the PvP numbers, as far as,
oh yeah,
they had no idea what they were doing, and somebody in management, there should have been an adult to slap their hands when they did that. I mean, it made no fucking sense whatsoever in my mind, as far as the way they escalated the armor. Yeah, that made no sense. I mean, but this is interesting as far as potentially exploiting it, but it is a limited armor. It's only limited to, I think it's limited to 5. So you can't go whole hog with this one and just take advantage of the repair efficiency. But George, you've done a lot of experimenting associated with your Inferno Dragons. And this one is, it seems like it's potential winner as far as,
if I had time, if I had tokens, if I had something to, or even the inclination to do the testing, because I don't really have much reason for it now. I mean, I might try and do, like, I might even still do it now. I might refit one of the hulls and see if I couldn't take advantage of that 30% and kind of design my defense around that, because I think it poses some very very interesting potential. But again, the question is, I'm so leery and so gun shy now for refitting, especially that fleet, that, you know, if I can get something that's passable for now, I might just wait and see what they come out for other armor. Because if a D6X comes out, well, shit, you know, in that point, then I start really worrying about what the balance is, and do I really want to refit now and then refit later to go back to the one-sided bias? You know, I don't know.
Okay. Anybody else have anything on the D6M?
Nope.
Nope.
Alrighty. Well, let's move on. I'm not sure we have much else.
Well, good, because I'm hungry.
Oh, show the circuitry.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that thing.
Yeah,
That one's interesting. That one's very interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't have the add evade, but it does everything else
Covers
you want.
everything, and that makes me very worried.
And it doesn't have a class restriction.
Yeah, it does not.
Yeah.
When they come out with stuff like this after limiting and being very, very compartmentalized in their releases, when they come out with something like this, I just, my gut reaction is to worry, because that is a very broad covering special. It makes me wonder if something's in the plans that we're gonna just go fuck and have to refit like a lot of shit with this, especially in PvP, because the numbers are so high right off the bat that I just, yeah, especially, like I said, especially in the way that the game has been so compartmentalized in the way that they release tech. I mean, my first reaction is, did they forget to put a fucking class on here? Because crap, that's a lot of number. Like, the numbers are pretty damn good, and there's no restriction at all. And
except for, I mean, like, these all happen at once. I mean, I'm going to start with the bottom, like stun resistance. So stun resistance would help with, like the 85 assault targets and pinches, right? Those are the two things that would help with, right? And so slow resistances would help with
cryo fields or things like that.
Cryo fields, or as far as like a conqueror haul going into a base.
SSRB.
Yep.
Yeah, it's. I'm just wondering if it's. What I'm trying to say is, I'm wondering if it's general enough that it's not specific enough. Are you feeling what I'm saying? That it's like.
Yeah, you're kind of saying the same thing.
There's not one target that you can take advantage of all of these things at the same time, except for potentially. No, I can't think of one target that you would take advantage of all three at the same time.
Unless
somebody can come. What?
In a person's base.
Well, as a defensive one? As a defensive player?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay, but not as a conqueror, but as a defender.
Yeah.
Because the stun resistance doesn't come up. If you are...
Not yet. Yeah, not yet. And see, that's the part that kind of worries me. It's not yet.
Yeah.
Because we just got drones that blow the hell up. It's not that far of a step to make them like the drones in the 85.
Drones and stun.
Right. So I again, my initial gut reaction was like, fuck. Because that just is, I'm so not used to having anything that's that open to be used with those types of numbers now, the way that the game has been. So, and Serpent Soul, yes, that's what I was kind of getting to, is that right there would be pretty good to put on either a base defender or a base hitting fleet, depending on your build. Again, that would be used in specific instances. So, but yeah,
the mine layer CIC.
The mine layer CIC.
Which has been out there for a long time.
Good timing right there. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. When like I said, my first gut reaction was like, oh no, I'm just not used to seeing things that aren't, because they've been so super fucking specific lately. Yeah.
All right. I think that's the last. Is that the last slide, Grimace?
Yep.
Yep.
Really,
Look at that.
nothing.
Well, I'm gonna take you off of.
I'm disappointed.
What?
I'm disappointed.
Well, you
There's
complained
nothing
about
on
the
the end of
thigh gap
slides.
on
What
the
the
girls
fuck?
last time. Yeah.
You could have put the end on.
I didn't complain about the thigh gap on the other one. That was perfect. A little bit of thigh rubbing. That's perfect. Yeah.
You
In
hurt
that
my
shit
feelings.
all day long.
You hurt my feelings, obviously. Because I'm
poor
a
fucking
sensitive
baby.
I am so fucking sensitive.
I know.
You wouldn't even believe. Yeah.
I know.
Yes. So I have put out the link out there for anybody that would like to join the after show.
See, look,
And we've been going for
even in chat, they're going, "Where's the end picture?" You see that? You disappoint everybody.
It's because he spent so long looking for the other one.
Looking for the 30. The 30 was difficult.
And you're telling me, wait. And you're telling me
Put the 30 up here.
You couldn't find any other, like all the ones that you looked at trying to find that 30. Nothing struck you as like, hey, that would be good for the end of the slides. Right.
Yeah. But okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For next week, or even Friday night. Okay. There we go. Friday nights.
It's too late, dude.
Mic.
You fucked it.
Somebody find a picture with a hot woman and the number 30, and present it on the show, and we'll see if it matches up to mine, because that was difficult to find. I mean, that was not easy. So, but yes, hashtag bring back 30. I mean, Grimace, if you want to, we can put 30 back up.
Do I have to freaking open all that stuff?
Oh, okay. See, now blame Grimace. Don't blame me.
Saving it for myself.
I'll put Grimace back on present.
Nope.
No, he's not doing it. See? Don't blame me.
Gotta leave the people wanting more.
Right.
So if anybody wants his coordinates after the show, by all means, let me know. I will provide them. You can explain to him exactly why.
Yes. And no more alliance back and forth about who rules and who's trash. It's just not. It's not appropriate here.
Everybody sucks. That's all. You know why? Because Kicksai fucks us every day. They win.
Okay. Yes. All right. Well, I see that chat is, devolving into something that you probably don't want to be associated
am I missing
with.
Something good? KD.
Well,
KD is crap. I agree with Carl.
Okay. Yeah. And then somebody's ex-wife. I don't even know.
Someone's ex-wife. Yeah. Someone's ex-wife is in KDE? Really? Huh.
I don't know. She's trash as well. So I don't even know. I don't even get into this.
Trashed exes. That's always interesting.
Yes. Okay. All righty.
Oh, damn. Dude,
next week I will ban you guys early if you keep this up with the we rule, I rule. Yeah, I don't find it interesting. I'm not sure that other people find it interesting, but
no one gives a shit.
We'll post in the after show in case you guys would like to join. Except for those people that want to yell about different alliances. Okay.
Talk about the World Cup.
Talk about the World Cup.
Yeah, we'll talk about the World Cup.
Let's don't.
Who's bringing it home? I'm not sure who's bringing it home at this point, but yeah.
I don't know. I lost money though.
Yeah.
Got to win it back on Sunday.
Are you gonna bet? Who are you gonna bet on? We're gonna bet against it. Are you betting for France or are you betting for Croatia?
For France.
Okay. Well, it depends. What just outright winners?
They better because they fucking.
Or are you gonna do what you did, because earlier today Corey did he had to guess the exact score. It was 3-1, and that didn't work out, right?
Nope. Harry Kane threw away two goals he should have scored.
Yes. And they were too aggressive with their. Well, never mind. Well, I mean, England hadn't faced a defense like that. I think the whole World Cup, as far as how aggressive they were, stepping up, getting in at interception lanes and getting in dribble lanes, they didn't face anybody like that, from what I could tell. But I could be wrong because I'm American and my football involves a goalpost and other things. So I don't know anything, but it was a whole different kind of defense that England faced this week that they hadn't been facing earlier. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end the show, and feel free to join us on the after show where we'll talk about how Corey got beat and whatever else. So
Corey got beat
later,
by
people,
French.
and again, we'll see you on Friday.
Yep.
Say good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Night.
See you, everybody. Thanks for joining.